What's going on, guys? It is the end of the year, so I thought I'd do something, well, not new, but new to me at least. And I thought I'd do the best and worst Gunpla of 2016. Maybe call this SHOKY's Gunpla Class 2016. Something like that. And these are not all of the kits that I've done in 2016, but these are all the kits that came from 2016 that I've built. And you guys have seen probably, yep, every one of these that I can see. Now, I have gone through a little bit of an algorithm trying to determine the best and worst here. And I will do the top 5 best and top worst. But just going kind of objectively. Now, there's about 20 kits here, guys. And it's a lot, as you can see. When I was contemplating this video, I was thinking I had to do every kit that I built this year, and that would have been way too many, because this is only 20 and it only represents these. You guys have seen these. This is not even close to a quarter of my videos, so that means that I've had to have built probably 80 or 90 Gunpla probably this year, just rough estimate. And this is just the ones I've gotten to. So let's go ahead and take a closer look real quick. Alright, mind you, these are not in any particular order. They are all just sitting here. So we've got things like from the Universal Century, the Thunderbolt Gundam, the local type, Dom Test type, the 21st Century type, the Zaku Big Gun. And then of course you got the little SD Superior Night Dragon. And then of course all of the IBO kits that came out this year. And there was way more than I thought there would be. I mean, I didn't consider the fact that, you know, Grimgard, the Gray's Ritter, even the Kimaris are all from this year. I didn't even think about that, because I guess IBO rolled over from the end of last year into the beginning of this year. And then of course, realistically, the last run of the original series is the 2 Astaroths. So it is what it is. And there's even a kit in here that I haven't even gotten to reviewing yet, and that'd be the Regionlays. But you guys will see how I ranked it. So stay tuned and we will get to the best and worst Gunpla of 2016. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get the bad out of the way. And really, I don't like to say there's really a bad kit, but in this case, we're going to point out at least 1 or 2 bad kits. Now, to kind of give you some insight here, I judged everything on a 1 to 10 basis, going by build quality, how it went together, how much there was involved in the build, and things like difficult nub removal, tons of sticker placement or bad sticker placement, or the amount of work that had to go into it to make it accurate. That goes into the build quality. Then there's also articulation. And that's basic. How well can it move? How well was the kit designed to allow it to actually do things? And then on top of that, we have fun. Was the kit fun to put together, and is it fun to handle? Is it fun to mess with, play with, set up? Or is it just a pain in the butt? Because as you guys probably know, if you watch my reviews, there were some that were a royal pain in the butt. And then last but not least, there's the coolness factor. How cool is the kit itself? And definitely there were some major cool kits this year. But the coolness factor didn't always save them. And since we're going into the worst kits that I've built this year, from 2016, you'll see what I mean when it comes down to how some things can balance out, and how big a difference there really is, or actually rather how small a difference there is between something that was in the bottom 5 and something that was virtually average. So let's go ahead and start off with our number 5 worst. So this would be the least worst. And it is, boom, the Gym Thunderbolt. And if you guys watch my review, this was the second review I ever did. And while I really do like this guy, there was a few things that did hinder him. Now, mind you, he's only in the bottom 5 by half a point. He only lost out on half a point of articulation, realistically. And that's only because the kit that's right above it, so technically number 6, is the Astaroth. And it's kind of unfair to really compare a UC kit to an IBO kit when it comes to articulation, because these Gundams are ridiculously articulate. But that's what I was talking about, what, how close it is at the bottom, because this was 28 points, this was 28 and a half points. So under those 4 things. So mind you, this guy didn't technically make it into the worst, but that's how close to being there it really would be, just because it was bottom 5. So this guy, while great, fun, looks cool, that some of the other things limited it, like the sheer amount of stickers, the sheer amount of paintwork I had to do to kind of make it more accurate. Now, I did have a lot of fun building this kit. I do enjoy it. I do think it's pretty cool for what it is. Now, if I had used every sticker that it needed, then it would actually have been worse on the list. But things like all of these little bitty stickers down here, the paint apps here on the knees, on the arms, just to make it look decent. Now, mind you, I didn't do a great job of cleanup on these things, but I did not knock off for the stickers that actually improve the look. So any of the warning stickers and things like that that actually help to improve it, not to hinder it, did not count against it. But things like how much had to be done on this backpack, that actually, that hurt it a little bit. So that's why this guy is number 5. He's not terrible. Definitely not in comparison to the actual bottom, but he's not terrible. He's just in there. So coming in at number 4, and you guys know I complained quite a bit about this when I built it. The 21st century real type RX78. Now, this thing is cool because of the great design. This thing has great articulation because it is based off the Revive RX78. But it has its problems. There were issues up here with the V-fin, it wanted to fall apart. This tiny little sticker right there on the thing. Now, mind you, I'm holding all of the water slides against this guy because they were that big of a pain. They could have made it just straight up regular decals and it would have been perfect. They could have actually made this just that easy. All of the water slides are what really drug this guy down, because otherwise he actually had a lot of coolness going on. The great color factor, the fact that it is the Revive Grandpa Gundam, that was good. Any paintwork I did on this, I chose to do. It wasn't a necessity, so I can't knock it against that. But the fact that the water slides won't stay on, maybe that's part of, what I did in building it. Yeah, I'm a noob when it comes to water slides. This is going to be hard. I gotta make sure not to knock everybody over here. But that's what knocked this guy down. And realistically, he's only got a couple less points than the gym. And I am just doing everything to make this production a pain in the butt. I really am. Okay, so that's your number 4 on the worst kits of 2016. Now, the next ones, I'm going to go ahead and claim it's an unfair loss for one of them, because this is a 2-part kit. And it was the 3rd 2016 kit I built this year. 3rd thing I ever got to review. The big gun with Zaku 2 from Thunderbolt. Now, for the most part, the Zaku and the gun are incredibly inarticulate. They're just limited in what they are. They can do some nice things, but they're not super articulate. The gun is really, really cool, even the way I painted it. Now, I can't hold any of the paintwork against it. I chose to do that. The stickers, not too bad. They improve the look. Can't hold that against that either. The Zaku, on the other hand, just meh. It's just kind of a boring Zaku. So the lack of coolness on the factor of the Zaku, that, if it had come with the unfolded arms, instead of having to get the Psycho Zaku just to get that, if the weapons would stay on decently, which they keep falling off the back, that kind of takes away from it too. The build quality was fine. it went together really good. The gun went together well, with the exception of the middle that was pretty loose. So, realistically, because I had to judge these together, I bought these as one kit. The Zaku drug down all the good points that the gun made and put it right at a 24. So, I mean, it's right below the real type that was drugged down by the fact of its water slides. While it's not a terrible kit by any means, and I gladly recommend it, there's just enough that's not great about the Zaku that drags down everything that's awesome about the gun. Now, moving into the second worst kit of 2016. This is the most recent kit I've built, as I just completed it the other night and have yet to even review it, but you guys will get an idea of my thoughts right now. And it is the new Regionales from IBO. Now that thing's actually a little too close to the camera here, but this thing, while it should have been really, really good, was not. It just, there's so many small issues with it. I don't like a lot of the articulation. It's strange and not great. The grays that it's technically replacing is better. I gave it a decent amount of cool points, but they were then again robbed by some of the build quality, like some of these huge nubs on the armor. They put nubs right in the middle of good chunks of green armor. I'm also knocking off points for the fact it's not even the right green. Though oddly enough, on camera, against the white background, it looks a bit closer than it is. The other thing I'm knocking against it is some of the weaponry. The gun didn't need to be multi-piece, so this whole barrel part comes off and actually makes it a little bit wonky. Now, this is actually part of the option set, so I can't really hold it against it. It actually improves it. The hands, the way they articulate, is so dumb. The design is really dumb, and the way they plug into the forearm is a very, very loose connection and tends to pop off a lot. And speaking of popping off a lot, these shoulder armors pop off, and these hip armors pop off a lot. Like, they're just not quite fit onto the hip joints, the little ball joints that are there. These things, these little forearm armors right here, they don't fit very well at all, and to use it with any other weapon, like say this or just a standard gun, it just doesn't work. I actually had to modify this one, which I'll get into in my actual review, so that you could hold these cool little spiky deals actually upright in a manner that would make sense. Otherwise, and once again I'll cover this in the main review, it holds it like this, and that's not an effective weapon. I'm sorry. So that is a really poor design choice on the part of Bandai. So that's why this is the second worst kit. Now, mind you, it was going to be the very worst kit until I got to really, doing the numbers. And realistically, the worst kit of 2016, drum roll please, but the worst kit of 2016, boom, the Mark III Lightning Pack. Now, mind you, the Lightning itself is an innocent victim here. It is not part of the decision. The Lightning itself is a really cool Gundam, but you're seeing right here part of the issues with this thing. And, wow, domino effect, of course. See, if the Regionales had bigger feet, it probably could stand up a little bit better. Even flipping down the heels, I don't know if that's going to make it stay. But, yes, this thing, it lost out on articulation, mostly because it doesn't have any. I can hold that against it because it's a design. So realistically, only these things move. So the wings move out, these pivot just a little bit. So, I mean, it's not a terrible vote, but it's a right down the middle. It's literally average. There's not anything else it can do. The sticker application that it would need, you would need them on all of the vents and thrusters. And the fact that other things needed to be painted, like this section here, this section here. The entire part of this part of the rifle, the tip of the rifle, all needed to be painted so that they would work. On top of that, quality. The plastics feel very cheap. You can virtually see through the red plastic. It's really, really bad, guys. You guys know this if you watch the review, which honestly, not a lot of you did. and just overall fitment. I mean, look, it takes no effort to remove from the lightning itself. It is a terrible fit. It's almost like they rushed it and just didn't bother. Like it doesn't even fit in the lightning itself. It's just that bad. When in like Strider mode, when it's flying around, that's actually its cool mode, and that actually does have a tiny bit of cool points. Not a lot, mind you. So this thing, I actually upgraded the articulation just a little bit, and it got up to 20 points, but it had less. I'll just leave it at that. It had significantly less points than that. And that's why the Lightning Pack 3 from Gundam Build Fighters Island Wars is the worst kit I built in 2016. Bar none. It actually managed to beat the Region Lays, which was my all-time like not liking kit of this year. So that's it for this part. Now let's go ahead and get into the best kits of 2016. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get to the best kits of 2016. Now before we get there, I just want to talk real quick. The middle bit, the most average kits, realistically, like I was telling you with the Gem Thunderbolt and the Astaroth, they were in the 28 range. The average points for most of these kits, and by most I mean virtually all of the middle part of IBO, was all in the 29 range. So the kits that are winning this are above that. There were quite a few 29s. There were a couple of 30s. But here's the crazy part. There is a three-way tie, technically for number 3, so we're still going the top 5 Gundams, or top 5 Gundam kits. So there was a three-way tie at 31. And honestly, it shouldn't surprise many of you, given my reviews of these things. So, first off in the 31 tie is the Astaroth Origin. Now, this thing is such a cool kit. It's great. The build was fun, even though it was basically like building any other Gundam from the series. It was fun because they gave you some new stuff to deal with. And I also gave a couple cool points to the fact that this weapon is pretty much one of a kind in the Gundam series. So that's why it's great. Those are all the positives. The negatives of this kit were the same things I covered in the review. These stickers, not the ones that improve the look, like this, or the ones on there, or even the markers here. It's all the ones you would have had to do. So anything back here, all of these on this part, all of this area that needed to be painted, same here. That is what actually drug it down. It would have been one of the top 2 otherwise, but it had a bad rap in and of its own details that Bandai could have done better, but chose not to. But otherwise, you guys know I love this kit. I did some fun detail work on it. And hey, it's a big red Gundam. Now here's the fun part. 3 of the top 5 are all in shades of red. So what does that tell you? Alright, so moving on to the next of the 3-way tie for third. One of the most recent kits I've built, the Shetan. Now you guys know I love this thing. I ranted and raved about it in my review. It's something new. It's something cool. The design is really, really neat, and I like it. The quality of the build was good. It went together really nice, and it's fun. It's just a fun kit. Now, the only thing that it lost out on was a little bit of articulation loss, and it's mostly due to this front skirt. And I didn't even cover this, but the front skirt doesn't divide, and it's really, really tight, and you can actually see right in through there some stress marks just from moving it. So that's kind of a knock on it, and it loses a little bit of that articulation in the legs, and it has slightly limited articulation in the arms and the head. The head being blocked in by the armor also limits that. So realistically, the cool factor, the fun factor, and the build quality all were super high on this guy. That's why he was also a 31. And I look forward to the variant of that whenever I get it. So the actual Ryusei Go version of the Shetan. I cannot wait for that kit, and hopefully it comes out next month. So that'll be fun. And I am going to be building a version of Orgas if I can. So, moving on to the last of the not top three, last of the three-way tie was the first kit I ever reviewed on this channel. In fact, the first video I reviewed on this channel. It is the Gundam local type from the Origin MSD line. This thing is so cool. The colors are great. The articulation is really, really good for what it is. The details are really cool. I love the red visor. I love all of the stickers on here that actually add to it. Now, mind you, I did have to add like a tiny bit of paint, so right through here, just to, make it a little bit more accurate. But other than that, you guys know, I didn't have to do a ton to this thing to make it awesome. I mean, they've really made it up with all of the decals and just the great sticker details that actually help the kit instead of hindering it. And this thing is one of the best articulated kits and most interesting builds because there's certain things like these feet, for instance, were something I'd never done. And the upward swing on the arm that is actually a lot more prevalent nowadays. That actually got me. The fact that the head could tilt back like that, and it's not on just a straight up double ball joint. That got it high in the articulation. Now, mind you, there's a couple things like that dumb little sticker there, and the fact that the V-fin is so fragile and you can lose that little red crystal. That's what held it back just a hair. So that's pretty much all the gripes that anybody ever has about this kit. Now, of course, one other thing that you guys know annoys me: no weapon storage except for the beam sabers. Beam sabers can be put away nice. The shield can be put away nice. The gun has nowhere to go, and you guys know that always bugs me. That's what kept it out of the, I don't want to say out of the top three because it's in the top three technically speaking. Now, if I had to rate these guys, I would say out of these three, this one would be number 5. The Shetan would be number 4, and the Astaroth would probably be number 3. They're all technically tied for number 3, numerically speaking, but if we're going to rank them out of those, I would say those. And they just look great together on their own, don't they? All right. Now, for the second best kit of 2016. And you guys also should not be surprised by this. Boom. The Hugo. Season 2 of IBO is nailing it, guys. Just absolutely killing it. This guy won out on cool factor. It won out on the build quality. It won out on articulation. And it won out on the fun. Now it does lose a little bit because of these big old shoulder stickers. The fact that you got to add these little stickers on here. The kind of dumb wire gimmick, mind you. You don't have to use it, but it is kind of dumb. And even the fact that this little piece right here could have easily been a little orange sticker, or in reverse, could have been an orange piece with a white sticker. That probably would have helped it if they just done that. But this thing is massively articulate. These legs are so cool. I ranted and raved about these legs. You guys know. I love this kit. It really wrecked shop in the actual show. Of course, until Barbatos came along. Until they cheated. But the fact that it is a fairly unique in the way of mobile suits in IBO, that's what makes it awesome. So this particular frame, yay, that's awesome. And just like the Shetan, I do have the variants on order. So I'll get the twin set coming up next month as well. And those will be fun because then I get to use the big old Buster Sword with it. And I didn't even add in the fact that the option kit for that is fun. So just everything about the Hugo easily puts it at number 2. Now, before we go on to number 1, I want to do just a quick honorable mention, just because it's kind of one in and of itself. There hasn't been any other entries in this type this year. So I want to give an honorable mention to the most cool SD of the year, and it's probably the very first kit of the year. It was the awesome Knight Superior Dragon. And this guy's, I love this. except for the fact I just popped that little mouth off. So he gets honorable mention because he's the definite coolest SD, the most fun little guy that there is. You know, just everything but from the chrome, the gold chrome to the metallic red, to the fact that he basically transforms into a dragon armored little knight. And it's just so cool. And this was one of the very first kits I even got this year. I'm pretty sure I had the pre-order in as of December last year. And so it was probably the very first kit I even got in 2016. And I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to give him a nice special honors just because he's all by himself, as there were no other real SD releases like him, especially in like the Musha series. So all of the other ones in the BB Senshi line, this guy was basically on his own, whereas the SD EX standards, those kind of took over this year. So this guy gets to be on the list because I said so, and he's awesome. So he's going to get to sit over here off to the corner as an honorable mention. And now we'll get on to number one, the best kit of the year. Now, the irony is, this is probably my most favorite kit of this series. So, the fact that it's number one didn't surprise me at all. And really shouldn't surprise you guys, because if you watch my review of it, you know how much I absolutely loved it. And the number one kit of 2016. Boom! The Grimgard, or my favorite little red bunny of death. This guy wins out on cool factor. He wins out on build quality. The only thing that kind of hindered him there was a few bad nub placements, but other than that, it was really good. The articulation is ridiculous on this guy. The detail is ridiculous on this guy. The fact that there's only one sticker. There's virtually no stickers, so you get basically right in there on the face, and then you would have these stickers here. But of course, I painted a massive amount of detail on this guy. I painted the swords. You know, I did a ton of work because I love this thing. The actual gun, or not well, the Gundam, but the actual mobile suit itself is absolutely ridiculous as being the first Valkyrie suit we got to see in IBO. And just it's amazing. Like I said, the the actual kit is really great. Now the 1-to-100 version is actually a little bit better. I'll even admit that, but I don't own that and I didn't build that, so it doesn't go on this list. This is only what I have and what I built, and this guy definitely takes the top of the list for just being an amazing kit. Now it was really pretty close between Hugo and Grimgard. Now he got a 36 point overall. Hugo had 33, so it was that close. You know, a few points here and there. If not for the arm stickers and things on Hugo that kind of made it annoying, it probably would have been just a hair higher. Probably would have given Grimgard a real run for his money. But as it goes, Grimgard wins, and it's a deserved win. So that's it, guys, for my top 5 best and my bottom 5 worst, plus a couple little honorable mentions in there. But that's it, guys. You guys know what I feel about these kits. You've seen my reviews. If not, I will try to link to all of those reviews in the description down below. And this is it for the last video of the year. This is me, Shoky, signing out, telling you all to have a great, happy New Year's. And I will catch you in 2017 with all new reviews of all the same stuff. Alright, guys. I will catch you guys later. Remember to always keep on nerding, keep on building, and keep on building the community in the new year. We're doing so great, guys. I'll see you later.